Now discuss about the global cooling or dimming effects. So I have told you NOx and SOx both. The both type of pollutants causes the global cooling. So what happens in the atmosphere? All the H2S gas present, SO3 gas present, or dimethyl sulfide which is present in the oceans, that all is ultimately converted into sulfur dioxide gas in the atmosphere. This sulfur dioxide gas is converted into SO4 2 minus particle. So now this is not a gas now, this is a particle because the size is increased with the huge amount here you can see. And this process takes place in the atmosphere and it is called as secondary formation. This secondary formation causes the formation of the SO4 2 minus particle. This is called as sulfate aerosol or secondary aerosol. Similarly, we have the nitrate aerosol or secondary aerosol. That is the NO3 minus, that is formed by the NO2 gas or NO gas. So these both SO4 2 minus and NO3 minus both are good reflectant of the solar radiation. So that amount of radiation which is coming to the Earth's surface that is absorbed by these particles and again sent back into the space. So there is a huge loss of energy to the Earth, and this is leading to the global cooling effect, not the global warming effect. So here, how you can see that the global cooling or dimming effect you can see in the NOx pollutant and the SO4 pollutants, which creating the secondary formation particles, and these particles reflect the solar radiation, and ultimately the phenomena is cooling down the Earth, which is called as global cooling or dimming effect. Dimming effect. So you can see that how SOx and NOx both are participating in the global cooling effect. And we have already seen that the NOx is also participating in the ozone formation, tropospheric ozone, which is a global warming phenomena. So that's why the NOx pollutant contributing to the both global warming and global cooling, while the sulfur dioxide or SOx pollutants only contributing to the global cooling phenomena, not global warming phenomena. So I hope it is clear to you and we should move ahead now. Now there is a question you can ask that how or when this secondary formation takes place. So this secondary formation takes place only during the night time or in winter season when the relative humidity is very high, the temperature is very low, and low atmospheric boundary layer you can find out that is having only the range of 1.5 to 2 kilometer. So atmospheric boundary layer is that layer where there is no effect of the uh, higher air which is moving above the surface, you can say. And here there is atmospheric boundary in this place. So this atmospheric boundary should be in the range of 1.5 to 2 kilometer. Relative humidity should be very high and the temperature should be very, very low. So this is how the secondary formation takes place. Then source of ammonia here. So ammonia is also a kind of secondary aerosol particle which is formed in the atmosphere, and the behavior of this NH4 plus ion is also same like NO3 minus ion. So it means it will also reflect a good amount of solar radiation into the space and causing the global cooling phenomena. So if you look at this NH4 plus ions, from where these are coming, so these are coming from the agricultural fertilizers, and these also comes from the sewer lines in the urban areas. So both are good source of these NH4 plus ion particles. This NH4 plus ion particles also react with the SO3, SO4, and it will create NH4, SO4, and this can also create NH4, NO3. And both are again the global cooling aerosol. So we have now multiple global cooling aerosols. So the multiple global cooling aerosols are the SO4 2 minus, NO3 minus, NH4 plus, and NH4SO4 and NH4NO3. So all these causes the global cooling or dimming effect. So I hope it is clear to you. The next very important thing that we have to discuss, which is causing a reaction in the atmosphere, that is OH radical. This OH radical is also called as hydroxyl radical. It acts as an atmospheric detergent. That's why it is also called as scavenger. Scavenger means that thing which is purifying or filtering the atmosphere with the pollutants or removing by the removal of the pollutants. It is one of the most reactive or oxidizing species. Major role in the ozone formation takes place by the OH radical. Now here you can see what is the reactions involved by the OH radical. So this reaction we have already seen, NO converted into NO2. This NO2 in the presence of the 392 less than wavelength of the light, it will converted into NO plus triplet oxygen, O3P. This O3P will react with oxygen and it will create the triplet oxygen containing ozone molecule. And then suppose this O3 is again, as I have told you, when it is exposed to the 300 nanometer wavelength light, which is having more energy. So now this conversion will take place and it will convert it into O2 oxygen plus O1D. O1D is the singlet oxygen here. And this O1D when reacts with the H2O, so it will create 2 OH radical. This is how OH radical formation takes place in the troposphere. What is the difference between singlet and triplet oxygen? You can see. So only difference is the composition of their cells. So in the triplet oxygen, both the electrons of this particular 2p molecule, a 2p orbit you can say, or 2p suborbit. So those are free and moving in different subclasses. And here in the singlet oxygen classes, they both are combined and running in a single box, while other box is totally empty. So this particular type of the oxygen is called as the singlet oxygen, and this type of oxygen is called as the triplet oxygen. So I hope it is clear to you. Then how OH formation also takes place by the other molecules. So not only NO, the HONO and HONO2 also contribute to the formation of OH radical in the atmosphere. Then there is a other molecules as well, like CH3OH, that is the peroxyl methane, then H2O2, then we have the HCHO. All these different molecules also contribute to the formation of the OH radical in the atmosphere. Now this OH radical acts as a scavenger, I have told you, so it purifies the atmosphere or filter the atmosphere. But this can filter the atmosphere through which or with which it is only reactive. So it is reactive with carbon monoxide, so it can remove carbon monoxide from the atmosphere. It can remove the organic compounds from the atmosphere, and it can also remove the methane present in the atmosphere. While it is not reactive or it cannot remove the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, chlorofluorocarbon present in the atmosphere, it cannot react with that. And N2O nitrous oxide also cannot be removed with the help of OH radical in the atmosphere. So this is the limitation of this OH radical. Otherwise, it is very effectively or natural process of removing the carbon monoxide, organic compound, and the methane in the atmosphere. Then N2 is responsible for the formation of the stratospheric NOx or stratospheric NOx molecule. So this one key thing you should also remember, by the reaction, it can also form the stratospheric NOx. So in the stratosphere, if you can find out NOx, that would be the stratospheric NOx, and that is formed by the nitrous oxide N2O. So this question was already asked one time in the examination. That's why I am including it here. Now let's see some reactions of this OH radical that you can see here. So this OH radical predominantly react with the carbon dioxide. As I have told you, this can react with the carbon dioxide. This can react with the organic compounds. This can react with the CH4. So all the three molecules that can be reactive here. So it is firstly reacting with the carbon monoxide. It is also reacting with the hydrocarbons. RH is what? This is not relative humidity. This is R is the acetyl group, which is containing carbon. And that carbon is attached with the huge amount of hydrogen or the sufficient amount of hydrogen. So that all is the RH group. So that RH group, it is also reacting with the hydroxyl radical, and it is also reacting with some few other species that we will see. So CH4 and all other hydrocarbons comes under this RH category. So here this OH radical firstly reacting with the carbon monoxide, it is converting it into the carbon dioxide plus H radical. Now this H radical would be converted into HO2 radical by reacting with the oxygen molecule present in the atmosphere. So H radical plus O2 creating HO2 radical. HO2 radical here is the peroxyl radical. The name of this radical is peroxyl radical. Now let's look at the another reaction, that is reaction with the hydrocarbon. It is creating R radical instead of the H radical. Instead of the CO2, it is creating H2O. This R radical will again reacting with the O2 similar to this particular reaction, and this time this will create RO2 radical, which is alkyl peroxyl radical. Peroxyl means two oxygen we have, that is the peroxyl, and alkyl means one alkyl group is attached to that, that is R. This can be one C group, two C group, three C group. Anything is possible in the place of R. Then another reaction here is the HO2 radical, which is formed here. This HO2 radical will react with the NO in the atmosphere. It will create NO2, and again OH radical is free now. So here you can see the carbon monoxide which was present in the atmosphere converted into carbon dioxide, and the OH radical is again back to the atmosphere. Similarly, the RO2 radical will react with the NO. It will create NO2, and RO radical it will create there. So both the types of reaction, all the three types of reaction takes place in the atmosphere. All the reactions are very important. Remember it wisely. Multiple times they have asked question from these reactions. Then what is the effect of the carbon monoxide? So carbon monoxide effects are written here. This takes place in the smoke formation or photochemical smoke formation. So that we will see in the upcoming slide when we will reach to the smoke formation thing. Then it will also contributing to the climate change and having the positive type of radiative forcing. So positive type of radiative forcing is termed as global warming. So global warming is positive RF. And suppose anything is having a negative RF, it means it is indicating the global cooling phenomena. Then the CO, carbon monoxide, have the 210 times more affinity than oxygen molecule with the hemoglobin. So if anyone is inhaling the carbon monoxide, so death is guaranteed, because all the hemoglobin of body will carry carbon monoxide instead of the oxygen. Why? Because affinity of this carbon monoxide is very high to the hemoglobin as compared to the oxygen. So that's why there would be anemia kind of situation, you can say, or a lack of oxygen type of situation in the body of an human being, and ultimately that human is going to die. So that is the effect of carbon monoxide that you can find out in the atmosphere. So I hope it is clear to you. One question was asked in the UGC NET examination, that is the carbon monoxide is harmful to human beings as it is causes cancer? No. Causes eye irritation? No. Depletes ozone layer? No. It has very high affinity with hemoglobin as compared to the oxygen. That is the right answer. And how many times high affinity? 210 times of the high affinity you can find out. So that is the question already asked in the past year's papers. The next question is saying that the reaction of OH radical, so this is the OH radical, with which of the following species generate H radical? So whether it is CH4, whether it is NS3, or it is CO, or it is NO2. If you have remembered all the equations of OH radical, only on that particular situation you can answer this question. So here let's see with what OH radical is reacting and create H radical. So the answer here is definitely CO. Here you can see that the OH radical is reacting with the CO and it is creating CO2 and H radical. So if you remember these equations, then only you can solve such a kind of question. So the answer here is CO, not CH4, not CS3, not NO2. If it will react with the CH4, it will create CS3 radical. So that's we don't want. We want the H radical. So H radical can be only created when it is reacting with the carbon monoxide. So I hope it is clear to you. Then nighttime tropospheric chemistry is dominated by which of the following species? So here the global dimming effect or the cooling effect will play its role. The nighttime chemistry is generally dominated by the NO3 minus, NH4 plus, And then we have the SO4 2 minus. So these all are the particles which do the global cooling effect or dimming effect, and these are generally formed during the night time when we have very low temperature, very high relative humidity, and low atmospheric boundary layer that we have already seen. So when this will be formed during the night time. So which will dominate during the night time? The same species will dominate during the night time. So the A option is the right option, which is the NO3 that we have right now. HO2O and OH, these are the during daytime dominated species, not during the night time. So I hope it is clear to you.